Hey, welcome to episode one of When Comics Didn't Suck. I'm your host, Count Chocula, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the Avengers, issue 164, going all the way back to 1977. I was 8 years old when this comic came out, and I remember my mom buying this for me off of the comic book rack at the grocery store. Thought it'd be fun to take a look back in a video series and look at some of the classic comics and classic storylines that I really loved and made me passionate about Marvel Comics when I was a kid. So, anyway, a little bit of cover here. It's done by George Perez. He's an absolute legend in the comic book industry. He's best known for his work on the New Teen Titans for DC Comics in the early 80s and Crisis on Infinite Earths, also for DC in the mid 80s. Now, bear in mind, I'm doing this unscripted. I'm doing this off the top of my head. This is just something I'm doing out of pure love for these comics. So let's get into the story. The actual title of the issue is To Fall by Treachery. It was written by Jim Shooter, penciled by John Byrne, two legends in the comic book industry. John Byrne is my all-time favorite artist. He's best known for his work on the classic X-Men with Chris Claremont. Jim Shooter actually went on to be editor of Marvel Comics later on, but he has written some of my all-time favorite story arcs. So catch you up to speed a little bit on the Avengers lineup here. You've got Tony Stark, Iron Man. You've got Captain America. You've got Hank Pym, who used to be Ant-Man. He's changed his superhero identity by now to the Yellow Jacket. You've got his wife, Janet Van Dyne, who's the Wasp. You have Black Panther. Black Panther actually was in the Avengers in the mid and late 60s on and off. The guy sitting in the chair there is Wonder Man, who has recently been brought back to life. He was actually created by Baron Zemo to destroy the Avengers. They thought he was dead. Here's Beast saying, I thought he was pretty spry for a corpse. But they figured out that he's like a creature of living energy. Tony Stark's assistant is saying right there. So some more of the Avengers lineup. You still have Scarlet Witch, the Vision, and that about rounds up the lineup. There you see Black Panther, but they're all getting together here, trying to analyze exactly what's going on with Wonder Man, exactly trying to understand what he's made up of. As you can see, the Beast is kind of the outsider here. He might be the most brilliant scientist of the whole group, but he kind of feels like an outsider. He hasn't been in the Avengers that long, and they don't really respect his scientific knowledge. So finally, Tony Stark says, do you have something to add, Beast? And the Beast has ditched his lab coat and he has gone out the window. He says, talk about being a fifth wheel. Now this is when the Avengers lived in Avengers Mansion. I think it was on Fifth Avenue or something like that. They're not in the high-rise Tony Stark skyscraper, Stark Industries building. So it's just called Avengers Mansion at this point. So the Beast is kind of just going his own separate way here. So he stops to get a hot dog here, and he's going to scare off the hot dog vendor. Oh my God, it's a character. It's a comic book. They're depicting someone smoking in comic books. That's another thing that I dislike. Everything's so politically correct in these comic books nowadays. As you can see there, he's scared off the hot dog vendor. But he's being recognized by some of the women on the street, and he's being mobbed. So he's a little bit distracted right now. Says the Beast, oh my God, I've read all about you. And, he's got a mob of adoring fans coming. So he's not really hating it at the moment. So one of them says they're just dying to touch his fur. Now, as you can see in the next panel, enter the villain of the storyline. Now, this is Count Nefaria. Now, Count Nefaria is actually an X-Men villain, and the Beast knows all about him. So he's hoping right here that he doesn't get recognized as he's driving by the Beast, because said it would be a cruel irony if I was captured because I was forced to drive my own limousine. I'll cover some of Count Nefarious storylines here in a few panels. As you can see, he pulls up to a warehouse in his limousine, and he's recruiting supervillains right now. And in the story, we don't really understand why he's doing it, but he walks in the warehouse, and here we have a lesser known comic book villain called Power Man. Now, Power Man actually first appeared in the pages of Luke Cage, which, as we know, is his name is Power Man. So I guess they fought over that title. He said, "Hear me out. I know who you are, Power Man." Now this guy, he's trying to get on with his life here. He says, "Power, Mister, you just made a bad mistake. I lost that name a long time ago. I guess he and Luke Cage had it out over the rights to be called that name. I actually had that issue. That's a very good issue. I may be covering that in a video in the future." But he throws the crate at Count Nefaria, but it turns out that Power Man number 23, he said, of course I recall now. There's a self-styled hero for hire who calls himself Power Man. I heard that the two of you fought over the right to that name and that you were badly beaten." So, of course, that was an illusion. He was just testing Power Man there. So he says, "So now you choose to wallow in self-pity, wasting your strength on warehouse work and idiotic tantrums." So he explains what his goal is. He's here to offer him a job back in the supervillain business, basically. He said, "You have guts, pal. All right, I'm your man." He tosses his hard hat away and into the limousine, but he explains to him that he's got to recruit 2 more supervillains, and they're going to have to be freed from prison. So fast forward here. This is a lesser known character. This is Bob Frank, the Wizard. He's kind of an old school superhero character from World War II, and he's the adopted father of Wanda Maximoff, who actually we know the actual father of the Scarlet Witch is Magneto, but this is kind of her adopted father. It says convicts out in daring raid in prison. So this is kind of fast forwarding a couple days. It says, "I wonder if the Avengers could use some help corralling them." You know, by this time he's retired from the superhero biz. You know, he's about 60 years old, but he used to be called superhero the Wizard, who's a speedster. Right there, the newscast comes on that there is a bank robbery in progress. The superpowered robbers are still inside. The police seem helpless against these criminals. So he's gonna help out the Avengers. He says, "The police may be helpless, but I'm not. Time to take action as the Wizard." But at the time Scarlet Witch gets home, his momentum's heading out the door, and he can't stop. She said, "Dad, I'm here." So he doesn't want to run into his daughter, so he slams up against the wall. And she says, "What on earth? Have you forgotten that you're just getting over a heart attack?" I mean, the guy is about 60 years old at this point. Just where do you think you're going? So there's a bank being robbed. I thought I could. He goes, "Are you insisting on killing yourself? You're retired as the Wizard." Because Tony Stark gave you a good job. You have a nice home and children who love you. You've got to learn to relax and enjoy life. Now, where is this robbery? Because she's still part of the Avengers, and she's going to be heading out the door to try to help out. So we're going to fast forward here. This is the actual bank robbery in progress, and the other 2 villains that Power Man freed from prison, that Count Nefaria is recruiting, is Living Laser and the Whirlwind. And they're calling themselves the Lethal Legion. And they're supposed to just be just stealing cash for Count Nefaria, so Count Nefaria can fund his scientific projects. Says, "You fool, you're right. Our orders are to avoid trouble, get the money, and run." And we see the iconic Captain America shield. The Avengers show up. It says, "Hang the orders. The living laser does as he pleases. I'm going to burn some cops before." And as you can see, the Avengers assemble battle cry. So as you can see, it's Captain America, Yellow Jacket, and the Wasp, and they're saying that the Black Panther is almost in position. He says, "I'm ready to shrink the insect size at your signal, Cap." Power Man's like, "Blast it. We could have been long gone if not for..." Whirlwind's like, "Cool it, Muscles. We can take these wimps easy. The only Avenger who scares me is that vision creep, and he ain't here. They're moving in. Kill him." So Captain America's trying to get to his shield, and Power Man just decks him. Captain America says, "Whoever this big guy is, he's strong, quick, and savvy enough to stay between me and my shield." So at this point, they're not sure who this guy is, the Power Man. The Wasp and the Yellow Jacket buzzing me. Can't find the range. They were never so fast before. And Wasp says that we're new improved models. Hank Pym has recently updated both their suits to make them a little bit more effective. So there you see Yellow Jacket slamming Living Laser. But he's saying he's got to help out Captain America. He can't spare the time to blast him and take him out. So as you can see, Black Panther has gotten in position to tackle Whirlwind. He goes to Black Panther, "You think you can hold a human tornado, fool?" Couldn't tear his helmet off in time. He's spinning at an incredible speed. And as you can see, the Black Panther, the Black Panther at this point in Marvel Comics is one of the least most powerful heroes. They've really updated him. Now he's got like a vibranium armor, and they've really made him more of an effective superhero. But at this point, about the only thing he's got is like enhanced senses. And so Captain America catches him. He goes, "Got him, but now what? The living laser's recovering. We've lost the advantage. No time for, agility, basically." But he's still like one of the least powerful heroes in the Marvel Universe. T'Challa. The living laser says, "One wide field blast will atomize you both." And enter the Scarlet Witch, who is on her way, as we saw earlier, to help out, stop the supervillains from robbing the bank. And as you can see, she uses her Hex ability to bust open a water main below, catches Living Laser. There's a classic look at Scarlet Witch. I think they did a pretty good job in the movie with Elizabeth Olsen playing Scarlet Witch in the Avengers, but I still prefer the classic look of the comic books. Says another one, "That Scarlet Witch broad. Now will you listen? Let's get out of here while we can. Cover our escape." The feminists would really be up in arms about Living Laser calling one of the characters a broad, but man, times have changed in comic books. "All right, I'll turn the street behind us into a river of molten flaming tar. That'll slow them down. Let's go." So the bad guys get away. Black Panther's kind of he says it's my fault. He's taking the blame for screwing up, not capturing him. He said, "Had I done my part," and he goes, Captain America's basically like, "Don't worry about it. This whole team's been falling short of its rep lately." So we're gonna flash forward here to Count Nefarious. I don't know if that's a mansion or like an apartment, maybe like a brownstone. But in his sub basement, he has a laboratory. Now, what happened with Count Nefarious and the X-Men is he funded a project to create a villain team called the Animen, which were kind of like mutated animals, to fight for him. And he basically went broke. The project fell apart. The X-Men defeated him. But he in escaping, one of the X-Men actually died. One of the new X-Men died, Thunderbird. So the Beast will be referencing that later. But he's trying to fund a new project to, and he's got something sinister in mind. So it says, Nefaria, well, well. Count Nefaria to you, Dr. Stanchek. Remember that. I trust you have had no difficulty resuming work on Project N. So at this point, we don't know what Project N is. But I guess the team of scientists had abandoned the project because basically Count Nefaria ran out of money. These scientists need to be paid. So it says, of course not. We left the apparati in good order the day we walked out. Though we should have smashed it when we discovered that you had gone broke financing your last abortive scheme and could not pay your debt to us. Says C X-Men 96. And that's the issue that I was referring to with the X-Men where Thunderbird died trying to stop Nefaria. But now Count Nefaria is saying I've recruited some supervillain lackeys to fund my new project. So he says, I'm sick of failure caused by the errors of inferiors. I'm tired of relying on others, including you. When we have finished exploiting my 3 foolish lackeys and sent them off to their doom, I shall enjoy dismissing you. Well, here's the main scientist that he has working for him, who is actually Baron Zemo's lead scientist when it came to creating Wonder Man to destroy the Avengers. So he's reminding, his name is Professor Claus Sturdy, and he's reminding Nefaria just about how he has to have his help. Remember, he designed the machine that created Wonder Man. It says, spare me your resume, Professor Sturdy. Zemo's vaunted machine failed to make Power Man more than a pale imitation of Wonder Man. But they're arriving now, carrying your Fuhrer's ransom. He expects to be remade by you. Do not disappoint him. So here's the Lethal Legion. They're bringing the cash back to pay the scientists and for Count Nefaria, but they're having doubts. It's like, why are we robbing banks for this guy? Power Man's or Whirlwind's saying, I think he's broke and he's using us to get him quick, easy cash. Because I'm not used to working for somebody else. Besides, what makes Nefaria big enough to boss Whirlwind around? Because you didn't seem like such a big man when I busted you out of jail, Whirlwind. Now I'll explain it for the last time. So you're already getting some infighting here with the Lethal Legion. So they're starting to insult each other, and Nefaria chimes in, and he's going to reveal the plans he has for these three supervillains. So anyway, what's going on is Nefaria is basically telling the Whirlwind, Living Laser, and Power Man that he's going to boost their powers up about 10 times. So the next day, we see the Avengers sitting around. You've got Captain America, Wonder Man. A little thought about Wonder Man's costume. This is actually my favorite costume by Wonder Man. I love the way George Perez and John Byrne draw this. Got Wasp, Scarlet Witch, Black Panther, and Yellow Jacket all sitting around. They're waiting for the Beast because they're going to have a team meeting. They're wondering what's going on with Iron Man. Black Panther says, I understand his employer, Tony Stark, is having his share of troubles lately. They still don't know that Tony Stark is Iron Man. Some of them still don't realize that that's the case. I mean, they work hand in hand with Tony Stark at Avengers Mansion. But they don't know that he's Iron Man. Now, I believe Captain America at the time knows. And I believe Yellow Jacket knows, but some of the members do not still realize that Tony Stark and Iron Man are one and the same, believe it or not. So here we have the Beast showing up after he took off for a couple days, and Captain America's a little annoyed. He's like, "Sit down, we've got important business to discuss." Suddenly, Black Panther, with his heightened senses, says, "No, wait. It's too late outside of here. Quickly get away from the window." And bam, a automobile comes smashing through the wall. Says we're under attack, and it hits the Wasp head on here. And there you see the team, after Black Panther's warning, the Wasp is the only one that couldn't get out of the way. That is such a epic panel there. Captain America's like, uh-oh, looks like they're here for the showdown. Says, listen up, troops. The Wasp was hurt. We're going to hold back. Stall until Hank makes sure it's okay to leave her. Then we'll attack as a group. Classic line here from the Beast, trying to stall, buy some time. Couldn't find the bell, guys. I mean, that's classic Beast. One of the more funny lines in the comic book. And as you can see here, Power Man, this is it, Avengers. Come out and fight or we'll bring that shack down around you. We're not going to wait long, cowards. Well, as you can see, Wonder Man, disobeying Captain America's order about attacking as a group, is goaded into attacking on his own. And he says, Captain America figured out who you are, Power Man. He told me you got your powers the same way I got mine. He goes, but you didn't metamorphosize. You didn't die. You didn't pay the price. And he doesn't know that Count Nefarious scientists have boosted his super strength. So Wonder Man gets slammed here. He goes, you can't be as strong as I. He goes, I've been remade, fool. You called me Power Man? Yeah, maybe I am again. So right here we see a Wonder Man is dazed, and Wonder Man already is doubting himself. I mean, he's new to the superhero business, basically, and he's already lacking confidence. He knows he has the power to be one of the most powerful Avengers, but he's lacking the experience and the confidence. And here we go. The Beast points that out. He says, geez, he's freezing up. What are we waiting for? Captain America, Hank, how's the situation? How is he? I don't know, but there's nothing more I can do for her. I'm coming. Just one more thing, Cap. I want a piece of the rat who hurt her. Understand? Power Man is mine. Fair enough. Let's move. So here we go. The Avengers are going to spring into action. Cap says, go. Hit them, Witchy. Soften them up with a hex. This ought to knock them off their feet. So she blasts a hex down to them, but doesn't do much. Beast is like, uh-oh. Whirlwind's already up. He's quicker than we figured. So you thought you'd take me by surprise. So did the Panther last time. So you got to remember, Whirlwind, Living Laser, Power Man, all their powers are increased about tenfold, thanks to Count Nefarious' project. So as you can see, the Whirlwind, my speed has been doubled. He says, I'm deadlier than ever. Beast is like, hey, that was fun, Whirly. Not as much fun as Magic Mountain, mind you, but it'll do. And the Whirlwind's shocked that he's able to hold on. But Power Man grabs him up. He said, don't let him bluff you, Whirlwind. He's dizzy. He can't pull his acrobatic tricks to keep me from grabbing him. And whack. Power Man launches him probably a few city blocks there. He said, the witch's hex separated me and Wonder Man. Next, I'll find him again and finish him. And this is when Yellow Jacket comes in. And he says, he's telling him he dumped his old disruptor gun and built a stronger sonic disruptor sting right into the suit. So Wonder Man, that hurt me. I didn't think anything could hurt me now. But I've got news for you. Though it's not enough to stop me. So he lifts up a big slab of concrete from the Avengers mansion. And he's about ready to slam Yellow Jacket here. He says, nothing can stop me. And he says, after I'm done with you, I'm going to hunt down that scum Luke Cage. Well, something happens here. Seems like Power Man is starting to lose his power. Wait, what's happening to me? I can't hold this slab anymore. My strength is fading. And the Avengers, they don't really understand what's going on here, but they do understand that the Lethal Legion is kind of losing their power. Wonder Man's like, he's out, blasted. I should have taken him at the start. What kind of hero am I? And here we see Black Panther knocking out Living Laser here because his power, he says, my power is deserting me just when I was about to kill. And Scarlet Witch takes out Whirlwind. He goes, he's stopping. He's a dead target. Whirlwind's like, "What's wrong with me? I can't spin anymore. I'm suddenly tired." So Beast makes it back after being launched a couple city blocks by Power Man. He makes it back, and Wonder Man's like, "Well, we won, sort of." He goes, "Wrong, Wonder Man. They lost, and we were cheated of our victory. Obviously, they were duped. Someone sent them here to be defeated. Someone who no longer had any use for them." The next panel, you see a giant shockwave knocking all the Avengers off their feet, and they don't understand what's going on. Uh, Hank Pym's like, "A giant shockwave, but not even the Hulk could make one like this. How on earth?" The Avengers land hard on the shattered pavement and lie there stunned by the overwhelming force. As they painfully struggle to rise, their new attacker emerges from the shadows, striding confidently, arrogantly towards them. And there we see Count Nefaria in his new suit, with his new power. Captain America's like, "Nefaria, you did this?" "I can do anything, Captain America, anything I wish, and I believe I'll indulge my whim to slay you all." So basically, Count Nefaria used used the three used Power Man, Whirlwind, and Living Laser, and I guess the machine siphoned off all of their powers, their increased powers, to make him like a superhuman. So as you can see here, next issue, Dare Not and Avengers Wrath. So that wraps up issue 164 and episode 1 of When Comics Didn't Suck. If you liked the video, subscribe to my channel, and I will have part 2 coming soon. Thanks for watching.